Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle Nedwick, and I make healthy lifestyle videos. And of course, that is my cat Leo at the door. Let me go let him in. I think Leo has become the new star of the videos. But anyways, he's joining us, making his appearance. And I was right in the middle of telling you that I make healthy lifestyle videos. And I'm also documenting my journey on a GLP-1. And you guys are following my life, so to speak. I'm getting married October 3rd, and I have a bunch of events coming up. So let me tell you how the week went. So this week, as far as Weight Watchers went, I did a virtual meeting because Mike and I had an appointment to pick out his wedding band. So that was kind of exciting. The wedding is all really starting to feel real to me. And I'm starting to get nervous and wish that we had just eloped. But hopefully I'll get through all the preparation and have an awesome, fun time. And I'll be sure to let you guys see a little glimpse of everything in my videos that are coming up. So if you've watched my past videos, you know I have two sort of bachelorette parties. The first one is next week, and some of my work friends and other friends that aren't going to my other bachelorette party are taking me to a French restaurant. And we have a whole room reserved, and it should be really nice. It's Chez Francois, if you guys are here in the northeastern Ohio area. It's absolutely delicious, and I am looking forward to it. And I modeled my dresses that I bought for my bachelorette parties, and I'll try to put that video in the description box below. So I did weigh myself, and my scale at home is exact to the one at Weight Watchers. So I know it's accurate. And I gained another 0.6. So I don't know. I gained, I think, 1.2 last time. I mean, it's not terrible, but I'm not headed in the right direction. So as far as my GLP-1 goes, I'm currently on 12.5 milligrams of TIRZEPATIDE, and I've been getting it through Orderly Meds. And I've always found that their TIRZEPATIDE is really good. It's just as strong as the brand name Zepbound, because I did buy a box of brand name Zepbound and have used some of those pens and compared. But anyway, I have been really only doing 12 milligrams. So this Friday I did 12.5. So we'll see if that little half a milligram makes any difference. I am feeling suppression, and I was kind of disappointed because I actually committed to walking at least 4 days this week, and I did it. So if you guys have watched me before, you know I'm a prosecutor in the city that I live in, and I live like 2 miles away from where I work. So I'm usually able to come home for lunch. So I got my walking pad out, and on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I did a half an hour on the walking pad at lunch, and then got it out of the way so I didn't get distracted when I get home from work. Now, I still have to get Mike and I more active. We really are still falling into the habit of watching TV all night, so on the couch, and not getting any exercise. Now, part of the reason is it's been extremely hot where I live. It's been in the mid-90s, and that's really hard to go out and walk for half an hour when it's that hot out. So I am looking forward to cooler temperatures to come. But I'm proud of myself for accomplishing my 4 times of walking in the week. I always tell you that's my goal, and then I come back the next week and say, I didn't make it, but this week I did. If I'm up 0.6, I don't know, maybe I'm building up some muscle. We'll see how it goes over the next week. I have been stressed at work. I have another jury trial coming up in a couple of weeks, and I had asked our chief prosecutor if if I could not have to do jury trials until my wedding, because I'm getting stressed out about that. And he has that day off, and so does another prosecutor that I have helped me out sometimes. So I'm stuck with it. I am still hopeful that it will settle. So say a little prayer for me, because I really don't want to have to deal with the stress of jury trials. Now, there are 4 set on October 1st, and I start my leave for my wedding on October 2nd. So when I go to work tomorrow, I'm going to request October 1st off, because there is no freaking way that I'm going to do a jury trial 2 days before my wedding. So speaking of wedding plans, I'm starting to finalize some things. Like I said, we picked Mike's wedding bands. And then yesterday, we kind of did a little bit of sightseeing and a little bit of planning. So I took Mike to Lakeview Park. That's in Lorain, Ohio, and that's where we're getting married. They have a hall there. It's smallish. The most you can fit in there is 150, and it's really tight if you have 150. I'm hoping to get about 100. But anyway, Mike had never seen it. He'd seen pictures of it. And so we weren't able to get in, but we were able to look in the window and walk out on the terrace. And the terrace will be available to my wedding guests, and it overlooks the lake. And you can see a lighthouse in the distance. So I thought about doing my wedding outside, because on October 3rd in Ohio, it really could be anything. I mean, we could have a fantastic day. It could be in the mid 70s and sunny, or, it could be in the low 50s and rainy. So I made the executive decision to go ahead and do the ceremony inside, because I know me, I'm a planner, and I can't wait until 3 days before my wedding to figure out where we're going to hold the ceremony. Plus, I also was concerned about the logistics of everything, because our wedding is at 5:30, and then we're going to go for pictures. The wedding itself should only take about 15 minutes. One of my good friends, she was the judge who I was in her courtroom for a number of years, and then she retired. And we were always very friendly, but we knew we had so much in common and really enjoyed each other's company. So once she retired and it wasn't a conflict, we became even better friends. And she's going to be the one marrying us. So she says it's going to take about 15 minutes, and then we're going to get pictures. Now, during that time, there's going to be a cocktail hour, and then we'll come back, get announced, and have dinner. So I'll get to dinner later. But the thing that was really stumping me was how to get the chairs lined up for the ceremony and then back to the tables so that it could be set up for the cocktail hour. And, oh, there he goes. He's such a lump. I think he weighs 18 pounds, and he's not very tall. But anyway, I digress. I was worried about how we're gonna set everything up, especially if we're leaving right away and all our guests are there. So what I decided after talking with my friend who's gonna marry us, we decided to keep the guests at the tables and make an aisle kind of down the middle. And I think that's what we're gonna do. And I also had to figure out how I was going to present myself and walk down the aisle. And what we decided was Mike and his 3 groomsmen will already be lined up in the hall. And then I booked a suite at a close by hotel. It was actually the hotel where my daughter got married last year. And we're going to finish up getting ready there. And then my best friend Gina's sister is going to drive us to the hall. And then we're going to wait for our cue. And then the bridesmaids are going to, go in one by one. And then I'm going to go in. So I also have picked my music, at least for the beginning ceremony. So I sat down with my daughter and her friend Lisa. She's a bridesmaid. She basically grew up at my house. And what we decided was we're gonna do for the bridesmaids a musical version of La Vie en Rose. And that has a special meaning to me and Mike because we've been to New Orleans a few times. And the original singer of that song was Louis Armstrong. And we've heard saxophonists and things play that song in New Orleans. Now we're just doing a musical version, no singing. So it should be really nice. And then if you've ever watched Bridgerton, they put modern music to like classical orchestra, and the band that does most of Bridgerton's music is, I think it's called like the Vitamin Shop or something. But anyway, when it's my turn and my son, Michael, is going to walk me down the aisle, it's going to be the Bridgerton version of Elvis's Can't Help Falling in Love. So I've accomplished a few things this week. I figured out how I'm going to orchestrate the logistics of my wedding. I've picked some music. We got picked out Mike's wedding bands. We looked at the hall. And I also got a few samples yesterday of the meal items that our caterer can provide. So I was originally tossing around the idea of roast beef with au jus, fried chicken, and then a rigatoni with meat sauce. And then you get two sides, and I know it's filled with carbs, but I also want it to be something that my wedding guests will eat and enjoy. Mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. And then it comes with salad and rolls. But one of my friends at the Weight Watcher meeting said, "You can't have fried chicken, that's picnic food." So I got a sample of the roast beef, which was very good. And I got two different kinds of fancier chicken cordon bleu and chicken marsala. And the roast beef was good. I really was not overly impressed with that chicken. So I'm gonna stick to my guns and have fried chicken at my wedding. Maybe it is picnic style, but I'm not trying to make this a super elegant affair. We are totally doing this on a budget, and my goal is just for everyone to have a good time. So what else did I do? Oh, I picked out where I'm gonna go for my rehearsal dinner. Now, originally when I booked this hall, I tried to get the Thursday night before booked. So that we could set up the night before, and it wasn't available. So we are gonna have to set up and do everything in the morning, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I called the person in charge of the hall and asked if we could get in there on Wednesday for just a little bit, just to kind of see where it is, where we're gonna set up. And they said that was fine. And I don't even have to pay to get in there. They'll meet us out there at like 6 o'clock and give us like half an hour in there. So then I wanted to do some kind of dinner. Now I have people in this wedding party that are coming from kind of two different sides, east and west. So, and Lorraine is kind of right in the middle. So I picked a restaurant in Lorraine. It's called the Shipyards, and you can see boats and the lake, and it's pretty cool. It's reasonably priced, and I'm gonna call and see. Mike and I went there after we checked out the hall and got our samples, and we really like this one room. And with our small wedding party, we just have 3 on each side, and my officiant, Lisa, and her husband. So I think there's only going to be about 16 people, and they have these kind of barrel round chairs that seat 8, and there's 3 of them right there overlooking the boats and the lake. And so I'm going to call them tomorrow and see if I can reserve those 3 tables for a little rehearsal dinner. And tell me if you think this is okay. I said to Mike that let's pick up everybody's meals and non-alcoholic beverages. And if anybody wants to have an alcoholic beverage, they can pay that themselves. So anyway, I'm going on and on about my wedding. Let me get to my brief segment in my Weight Watcher Motivation series. Now, like I said, I attended a virtual meeting. And Gina, actually, she attended the meeting I normally go to and took some notes for me. So I have a little bit from each one. Now, the topic yesterday was fighting plan fatigue. And basically, what that is talking about is when you are on a health journey, sometimes your energy level waxes and wanes as far as how much effort you can put in to your diet and health journey. And what they were trying to say is sometimes you start to feel burnt out. And I'm not really there. I'm just mostly just trying to get through the next less than 2 months and kind of fight my stress. But yeah, that stress actually does make it harder for me to focus on my health journey. So what do they say? The online leader, Jocelyn, likened it to your gas tank in your car. Do you let your gas tank get all the way down until the low fuel light comes on? And to be honest, I do. And that is kind of significant on a health journey as well. You want to try to avoid getting to that low fuel light. You want to, find a way to maximize the energy that you do have and make good decisions to further you on your health journey. And what she said is, and I've got my trusty iPad, how do we reallocate our energy to maximize our fuel? So one of the things she said, first of all, how do you recognize when your low fuel light, so to speak, is on? It might be when you don't feel like meal prepping, you don't feel like tracking, you don't feel like working out, and you find yourself in a slump. And I was like that, I would say, for a few weeks. This week, even though I did gain 0.6, I felt much better about how I did on my actual health journey. I walked 4 days, I planned meals, I planned healthy meals, I had fruits and vegetables almost every day. And so those are the kind of things that you can focus on when your energy is low. What the leader said was, we have a tendency to shift into all or nothing mode. And I'm guilty of that as well. And, it does help being on a GLP-1 because it does curb your appetite. But I've been on Weight Watchers and other diet plans before, and I remember that feeling of you eat something maybe you shouldn't have, and then everything's blown. So might as well just eat and drink whatever I want and restart on Monday. And I think all of us have been guilty of that in one way, shape, or form. So you want to try to avoid that all or nothing. And what she said was, an object in motion stays in motion, which is a law of physics. And how she applied that to our health journey is, you don't want to just stop. You want to keep up your momentum. And maybe you won't be going as fast as you were, but you're not stopping. And how you can do that, focus on the things that come easier to you. And we've talked about this in the past. For me, I do try to get my water in. I'm pretty good about that, especially during the work week, because I have a 40-ounce tumbler. I fill it up with ice water first thing in the morning. I drink that. I usually have that done by like 2 or 3, and then I'll have maybe a half of a tumbler more in the afternoon, and then I'll have more water when I get home. So drinking water is a strength that I can fall back on when I'm lacking energy. And I imagine with everything I have going on and coming up that I'm going to have to focus on the things that come easier. Now, I started walking on my lunch hour. Now, mind you, I can't get all sweaty and whatever, so it's not strenuous exercise, but it's way more than I was doing. So I don't see why I can't make a habit of coming home on my lunch hour most days and jumping on that treadmill for half an hour. So that is something I think I can do even if I'm low on energy. Also, going to the meetings. That helps, even if you're not precisely on plan. And I'm going to switch over to some of the notes that Gina took because our leader, Michelle, talked about that too. And Gina said, our leader, Michelle, said, the program does not have to be all or nothing. We don't have to push ourselves so hard. We should find a happy balance. So maybe what has worked in the past, like measuring your foods or keeping healthy snacks or tracking, you can focus on some of those and fall back on, some of the habits you've already established. And, she talked about maybe doing things in moderation. So maybe if you really haven't been tracking and you're really not into it, maybe only commit to tracking 3 times in the week and, keep that going just to keep it in the back of your mind. And one of the things Michelle reminded the members is if you are a Weight Watcher member and you go to the meetings, you can always do a no weigh-in pass. So if you're going to get stressed out about what number is on that scale, maybe that's something you need to take a break from and just focus on your healthy habits for a little bit. So, those are some ideas. Now I'm going to go back to the leader, Jocelyn. And she's really good, actually. I like her a lot. I've seen her on some of the materials and online for Weight Watchers. So I think she's one of the main leaders of the whole Weight Watchers. Jocelyn also talked about something we've talked about a couple of different times, and that is stopping the negative self-talk. And it's so easy, when we're stressed out, when we're not following our plan precisely, to just get down on ourselves. And does that ever help? It really doesn't. That's when you start moving into that all or nothing mode. You start saying, bad things to yourself that you would never say to your friends. And, it kind of just spirals down. So my leader, Michelle, when we talked about it in another video, she nicknamed that negative thoughts as Fred. And she says, you got to kick Fred out of the party if he's causing trouble. So keep that in mind. And one of the members on the virtual meeting said she had surgery and couldn't exercise. And up until then, she had been a regular exerciser. And, she said after a few weeks, she had gained almost 3 pounds. She was starting to, panic, so to speak. So she found chair exercises, I think on YouTube. I haven't looked for those. Hopefully I won't have to have surgery or anything like that that will prevent me exercising. But for her, she started doing these chair exercises and found that she now loves them. And she's lost 3.5 pounds. So she lost all the weight she gained and more. And that's just an example of finding what's doable. And that's what Jocelyn says. Think to yourself, what is doable for me, and focus on it. She also had this suggestion of picking one goal that day. So, for Monday, maybe my goal will be to do that half an hour on my walking pad at lunch. So that if you make that goal and you achieve it, you feel a sense of accomplishment. And again, an object in motion stays in motion. So as long as you're putting, 1 foot forward, you're gonna make progress on your health journey. And Jocelyn said, keep those goals concise and simple. Now, she said, the smallest steps really do move you forward. And Jocelyn's quote of the day, which I like to end my video on, was, when you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. And let me switch over to my notes from Gina. And the quote of the day from my leader, Michelle, you can kind of see her there. Action is the antidote to despair. And that's from Joan Baez. All right, well, that kind of concludes my video for today. I do want to give you guys a heads up. You know, several months ago, a company contacted me called IUGA. It's spelled IUGA, and I actually have a link in my description box below. But they reached out to me this past week and asked if I wanted to do another collaboration. And they let me pick out 4 more things. Now, what I'm really excited about is they are getting into sportswear, not just the yoga pants and, bras. So I ordered 3 items of sportswear, and then one, they have some new leggings that are supposed to help hold you in. And if you're a guy, just don't listen to this. You're supposed to not get camel toe. And if you know what that is, you know. So I got those in the mail actually just the other day. I have not tried them on, but next video, I'm gonna do a model show for you guys. So if you've made it this far and you've enjoyed this video, give me an emoji of a bell for wedding bells. And if you like this video, please like it below and subscribe to my channel. And tick that notification bell so you are alerted every time I upload a new video. All right, Leo and I are gonna say goodbye for now, and I will see you next time.